I'm Kelly Sartain with Texas Mutual Insurance Company, and I am here to introduce our speakers for our marketing ideas, and it's Stacey, Kane, Kendra, Shier, and Hunter Townsend. Come on.
Good morning, everybody. Am I live? Oh, yeah. Hey.
Thank you so much.
Well, welcome. This is a lot of fun for us. And the good news is at the end of this presentation, in a few days, we will email you a document that will have well over 100 marketing ideas for your restaurants.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, sorry.
But we want to be interactive. So
super
today,
interactive.
We want to get ideas as well from the crowd. But first, a little bit about us. And I'm trying to advance this slide. Okay. You've heard a little bit, you wonder why a VP of operations is standing up here in a marketing situation, but I firmly believe that the best marketing that you can possibly do is excellent operations inside your four walls. And I spent a great deal of time as a CMO and a VP of marketing, but my heart and my passion is operations. So that's why I'm here today, bringing markerations, as I like to call it, ops together.
I'm here because I have been doing restaurant marketing for 22 years. I started on the street corner dressed as Subman, handing out coupons in the rain, 6 months pregnant. So picture that. It was awesome. And have been with restaurant brands for the last 22 years. Was one of the first marketers to actually harness the power of social media for restaurants back 10 years ago, before there was this thing called Instagram or Snapchat or Bookface or whatever you want, but started with that and really have a passion for these small ideas that can really garner you big wins within your restaurant space.
My name is Hunter, and I'm typically more comfortable screaming into a microphone. I learned marketing through marketing bands that I've been in since I was like 16, 17, and I kind of grew up with the beginnings of social media with LiveJournal and MySpace and things like that to waste your time when you're in high school. But I worked in restaurants since I was 15 or 16, and I loved the industry, but I knew I didn't want to go into management. It just wasn't a lifestyle that I wanted to commit to. So I found a way to kind of combine my outside of the restaurant industry interest with my restaurant industry passion. And I kind of focus on social media as the new standard for customer service. Just as much as I expect to be able to call your restaurant and get an answer, now I expect to be able to do that on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and everywhere else that you have an online presence. So I run a company in Austin called Consumable Content, and we work mostly with one-unit owners, small businesses, and focus on organic marketing, creating a community, reaching out to other businesses and charities around town. And that's what we do.
And Hunter is going to pass the microphone. We'd like to hear what your name is, what your brand is, how many locations you have.
And we're gonna try to do this super quickly. So just let us know how many units you have, what you do, and this way we'll get the temperature of the room, and then we're gonna start creating some stuff together.
And I will be sending this around for your email address so we can make sure to get you all of the 101 plus ideas that we will have at the end of this. So if you will kindly put a legible email, we'll make sure you're on that list. All right.
Good morning, I'm Janie Cerna, and I'm with Mrs. Snow's Shave Ice Truck, and I have one truck.
Awesome.
Hi, my name is Ray, and I own Ray's R Bar and Grill in Marble Falls, Texas.
Hi, my name is Matt Acosta. I'm the CEO of Las Palapas, and there's 14 locations now.
Hi, I'm RJ. I run Arctic Ape. We're here on Walsham here in Windcrest. We're a frozen dessert shop, custom.
I'm Amy, and I am the catering director for SDSU Catering.
Go Aztecs. Sorry.
I'm Tasha, and I own NS Catering in Dallas.
Hi, my name's Mary. I'm with Dunkin' Donuts, working for a local franchise that has 4 stores currently.
Hi, I'm Roxanne. I'm from Bill Miller Barbecue, and we have 73 locations, and I'm part of the social media team.
Good morning, Michelle Beard, Roaster Company, manufacturer of pressure cookers, pressure smokers.
Hi there, Jason Galton. I'm actually with Travel Zoo, so I'm an imposter. We're an online deal platform.
We'll let you stay.
Stormy Williams with the Kent Companies, and we own about 4 different restaurant concepts.
Brandon Howard, I'm with ATKG. We're a local accounting firm offering accountant and tax compliance to local restaurants.
Good morning, I'm Janet from Laredo Taco Company inside Stripes Convenience Stores. We have over 750 locations.
Wow.
I'm Reagan Manning. I'm with C&J Barbecue in Bryan College Station. We have 3 locations.
You want to get this out of the room?
Andrea Calvert, I'm the Food and Beverage Director for the Wyndham Garden Hotel in Austin.
Paula Hayward, I own Bear Moon Bakery Cafe in Burning, Texas.
Garvin O'Neill, Texas Tech University.
Charlie Adams, Texas Tech University.
Julie Furlow with Julie's in Texarkana.
Jennifer with Julie's.
Bill, culinary instructor, Taft High School.
Melanie with Kim Mark.
Charlene with Scratch Consulting. I help restaurants who don't have the bandwidth to run their gift card programs and marketing programs. So,
this is Audrey. She works for me. My name is Robert Morris. I'm in Abilene, Texas, and I have a barbecue restaurant, and I also do some social media for 3 or 4 of my friends that have restaurants.
Kim with Smoky Mo's Barbecue, and we have 7 local Smoky Mo's.
Bonnie Spencer with Smoky Mo's Marketing, and a total of 16 restaurants.
Morning, everyone. I'm Chris from Dallas. I'm Chief Operating Officer for Rise Soufflé Restaurant, a French soufflé-based restaurant. We have 3 locations and trying to grow.
They're amazing.
Hi. Oh, I'm Phyllis Davila, corporate catering and event planning out of Sweeney, Texas. We do drop-off and on-site catering.
Hi, I'm Carla and Jose Gonzalez. We're Vico Supply in Eagle Pass, Texas, and we have 2 locations.
Trent Patterson with Dish Society in Houston. We've got 3 locations.
Alfonso Mancera, Tropical Restaurant. We're a Colombian restaurant in the Houston area.
Rick Glenda and Ryan Brown, Chicken Express. We own 4 locations, 3, building a 4th one up in the Oklahoma City area.
Kent with Navre. We are a managed service for accounting in your back office.
Aaron with Navre.
Tina McInnes. I'm a Salata franchisee out of Houston, and I've got 4 locations.
Casey Bevel, Human Resources Director for Dairy Queens of Tyler. We have 15 locations.
Vincent Miranda, General Manager of Olympia Grill in Galveston. We have 2 locations, and we're currently opening a 3rd.
Juan Torres, one of the General Managers of Las Palapas.
Adrian Sainz, GM from Las Palapas.
Speaking for the lovely Jill Carter, owner of a catering company and a small cafe.
You guys want to play?
My name is Preston Adrian, working with InKind. We're a technology startup focusing on customer loyalty, particularly for restaurants.
Nick Nguyen from Riel in Houston, Texas. It's a chef-driven restaurant.
Paul Cortino from Cortino's Italian Restaurant. We have 1 location.
Christina Ramos, Marketing Manager, Alamo Cafe, San Antonio, 2 locations.
All right.
I guess that's that.
So with that, we want to really get started. We want to share with you our best and worst marketing ideas. Each of us is going to share that with you very briefly. And then we want some rapid fire from the audience. Ideas that you've executed, things that have gone well, ideas that you have. We have already populated 101 ideas. We want to add to that. So in addition to that, I want you to think internal and external marketing. One of the most critical audiences that we tend to forget are the people inside your 4 walls that are actually working for you and with you. And how well are you marketing and taking care of them so they can take care of your guests? So be thinking along those lines and things that are scalable. The reason we're talking about this is there's really no bad answer here today. So my personal best marketing idea actually kind of turned out to be well, it could have been very bad. I worked for the Melting Pot restaurants for years, and one Valentine's, we kind of had a tagline that said, forget the flowers this year, bring her for a chocolate fondue dinner. Well, what happened was I started getting letters from floral associations saying, why are you attacking our industry? It went viral. So our sales increased 10%, but we had really offended a fellow industry person by this tagline. So it was this huge swell storm. We got national PR over it, so it was a fantastic thing for the business, but we really had to make good on the floral side, which we ended up giving a rose to everyone that came in that year, and so we kind of made peace that way. My worst marketing idea by far, and it wasn't my really idea, but my team's idea together, we sent this fantastic email out thinking that we would, again, this was when I was with the Melting Pot, we would really, during this holiday season, try to get some folks in the door to experience the fondue experience, and our tagline was Happy Passover. Okay, now if you know anything about Passover, it's not a happy holiday. So for us, it was a huge, huge mistake, and certainly something, and considering when half of our franchisees were also Jewish, I mean, we really had to kind of backpedal there and make good. So everybody does make those mistakes. Sometimes they turn out to be great, but it's how you handle those circumstances. Stace?
So my favorite marketing promotion that I've done recently was for Firenza Pizza, and we decided to do a $500 stunt pizza. So the $500 stunt pizza it was a surf and turf. It had filet, a half a lobster, caviar, gold leaf, and lobster bisque as the base. Gorgeous, gorgeous pizza. We put it out there for $500 in hopes that nobody would order it because I didn't want franchisees to have to like run and go buy lobster or sirloin or filet. We actually promised that if anybody did order it, that we would fly the ops team down to their store to make it. But the reason that it was so positive was because it was so ridiculous. Like nobody's gonna order a $500 pizza on Valentine's Day. Oh, it was in regard to Valentine's Day. Like one of those like, don't splurge on diamonds, get her a $500 pizza. And the photography was gorgeous, and you can actually make all of these ingredients in our stone hearth ovens. But the awesome part of it was that it got picked up all over the world. All over the world, tons of positive press. We got close to $1 million in earned media from it. It got picked up by the Daily Mail, USA Today, Time.com, because of the fact that it was so ridiculous. And the whole promotion cost me, maybe $75 in the products and the food cost. So it was super fun. We had, because we're kind of all over the United States, we had TV stations running to our restaurants, and just as promised, I flew our chef to Charlotte as well as LA to make this pizza for the press. So that's my favorite thing that I've done recently. I don't know how I'm going to top it for this Valentine's Day. Maybe it'll come with something from Tiffany's, I don't know. But my favorite mistake that we ever made was I was with a small brand called California Tortilla out of Washington, D.C. And we participate, and this is actually one of your ideas, so listen to this. We participate in September in a giving campaign called the Dine Out for No Kid Hungry. It's a national organization through an organization called Share Our Strength, and their goal is to eliminate childhood hunger. They're very, very easy to work with, and everything is super customizable for your brand. However, when you are sending out an email about your big donation pushed, you should never say that you are trying to end childhood as opposed to childhood hunger. And that went out to 60,000 people in the Washington, D.C. area that California Tortilla was trying to end childhood. So that's a little lesson on proofreading, for sure.
So I focus a lot on business partnerships, and I was working with this brand. It was a legacy brand. They'd been open in Austin for 20 years in the campus area, vegan, Asian comfort food. And they closed, it was an outrage. Everyone was upset. The vegan community was disheartened and dismayed. So the daughter opened it back up a few years later, and they just weren't really catching. People didn't, they moved locations, they were in a weird part of town, it just wasn't really, they weren't reaching the people they used to. So I thought, hey, let's partner up with this ice cream shop called Sweet Ritual. It's a vegan ice cream shop. They do amazing, amazing work. They're huge in Austin. And let's say everyone who goes into Sweet Ritual this Saturday and buys a cone or buys a cup will get a card for a free entree at Veggie Heaven. All right, so we had like 4,000 people interested on Facebook, and I told that to the owners of the restaurant I was representing, and they were just like, oh, okay, cool, all right, thanks. And I told that to the restaurant that was participating that I'd invited in, Sweet Ritual. They staffed up and broke their sales record immensely that day. Line around the building all day long, everyone was happy. They emailed me, they're like, oh my God, thanks for including us in this. They weren't my client, so they didn't have to pay for it at all. My client did not staff up. So they had 2 servers on and a line out the door for their restaurant, which resulted in them getting 10 to 15 negative Yelp reviews the next day and almost guaranteeing that that crowd would never come back. So when she told me today the word marperations, that's kind of the best example I can ever think of, is that we had this great marketing strategy, this great marketing idea, and it worked, but operationally they were not prepared for that. So it was best and worst in one fell swoop.
Well, and I think that's the challenge we all face, and I'm going to kind of fire some ideas at you right away that I think sometimes we're challenged with. A lot of my franchisees back in the day hated it when we gave something away for free. It's like, free, oh my gosh. I want you to think for a moment. You spend a lot of money on advertising, correct? You're going to spend $200 on the ad that's got a 50% off coupon, or however you're going to drive them in. If you believe in your product, if you believe you have the best shave ice, the best burger, the best anything in the world, why wouldn't you just put that in their mouth? Why wouldn't you just give them that experience, knowing full well that that benefit's going to come back to you? So I'm going to challenge you not to be afraid of free things, external, giving that free burger away. A burger costs me $1.68. If I can spend $1.68 to get somebody in my building, I will do it all day long. Why would I spend the money advertising to convince them to come in to spend their own money to enjoy that experience? So it's incredibly powerful. Redemption rates are sick. Who's not going to bring in a free burger? They're probably not going to come alone as well. They're probably going to bring somebody with them. So I would really challenge you not to be afraid of really putting that item in your consumer's mouth, going directly to them. Use some great partners. We hand out a bunch of stuff. We actually, this weekend in Flower Mound, we broke some records there with a Coaches Eat Free. The Youth World Series was in town. We fed the coaches if they brought a team of 10 or more in, and I kid you not, we're up 40% over prior year at the same tournament, just because we physically went out there, handed those out to the coaches, and they brought their teams in.
So I think that that's a really good point. So a really great tip is sometimes as operators, when you're running your restaurant, you tend to manage from the back office. Or if you're a great operator, you manage from the front of the house. You have to know what's going on in your local community. If nobody knew that the Coaches Association or this youth event was, in Flower Mound, nobody would know to go out and to market them. So a big tip is learning what's going on in each individual community that you're in. You can partner with the Chamber of Commerce and really go on their website to find out. Talk to the people in your restaurant and say, hey, are you involved with anything? Are your kids in Little League? Those sorts of things. Having those conversations kind of become the little seed that can germinate into a really great idea.
And to roll off of that, find a cause or a charity that you believe in, and don't do the typical, oh, come in from 5 to 6 and we'll give 5%, because that everybody kind of knows that's kind of like a marketing grab. But I had a client that during the last big hurricane on the coast, they donated 100% of proceeds for the day, so they covered their cost, but still every restaurant broke the sales record that day. And they gave it away, but they embedded themselves in the community. People loved what they were doing and loved that they weren't just out to take your money, that they wanted to participate in being a community and being a part of something. And we still have people a year now later that come in and tell us how much that meant to them because they have family in South Texas or they have family on the coast. So that's a way for you to put your personality and your personal beliefs into your business, which I think is a bold move, and it usually pays off.
I think before, too, we get some ideas from the audience, the important thing that you have to dial in before you do any of these great marketing ideas is your operations. You can't spend the energy, the time, or the effort and drive people into an experience that is going to be less than perfect or less than awesome. So part of that is taking care of that internal team. At Jake's, we believe that our people, not our guests, come first. Our team is number one, and I'll tell a guest that, because if I can't take the best care of those employees and the team, they're not going to take care of the guests. You guys see it. You're in restaurants all day. You can see when people love their jobs. You can see when people hate their jobs. And we're all competing for that same workplace group of folks. I mean, guys, turnover is the number one issue all of us are facing in our industry right now. So how do you keep and retain awesome people? It's with a solid culture of putting them first, appreciating them. Everybody gives the millennials a hard time. Let me tell you something. They're awesome when you figure them out. You know what they want? They want to feel appreciated, part of something bigger than themselves. They want a quality of life, and they want you to fire the low performer very quickly, because what that says to them is that you're tolerating that behavior. And so what they'll do is they'll quit their job and keep showing up. That's what I like to say, because they will. They'll check out of their job and keep showing up. So it's taking care of those low performers quickly, and just a thank you. And Charlie Adams, I got to call you out back there, because I'm a Texas Tech graduate. I did not go to the REM school, but the one thing I learned at that university, and what he had always told me, was a pat on the back, a thank you to your employee is the most important thing that we as operators tend to forget. We tend to forget to just take, hey, if you weren't here today, it would have totally sucked. Thank you so much for being here. And that was a powerful message that resonated with me and continued. I think your team wants to respond to people that really, truly know that you've got their back.
Something really inexpensive that you can do in line with that, along with talking about millennials. We talk about millennials as if they're this monster that nobody ever dealt with before.
Call them unicorns.
We were all basically millennials at some point. Somebody was always afraid of working with us. But then one of the number one things that this group of people wants in their workplace is a comfortable uniform. So something to think about when you're making your uniform choices is a comfortable uniform that you don't feel stupid wearing.
Right.
So that's really
There's
great
actually
tip.
a session of employees, I think it's tomorrow, where they ask them, why do you stay? Or what will keep me here? Why? And I think this is brilliant. Anna put this together. I think it's great to hear from the hourly, the front line, why they choose to stay or not to stay. We always walk in, and you have to believe that when I walk in the buildings, I'm not the most important person in that building, nor is the owner. It is that hostess, that server, that person that will touch 60 guests today and determine whether they come back or not. So do you give them that level of importance in your organization? Do you train them? Do you support them? Do you appreciate them? Because they're the ones. It doesn't matter how much great operating and marketing I do from the home office or when I'm in those stores. It matters every day what that unit level, that hourly, that frontline employee does.
Well, let's turn it over to you guys. We'd love to hear some great marketing ideas, some great successes from your businesses.
And internal or external, things you're doing for your teams or things that have worked for you in your community, or questions for us. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Here we go. Develop some interest in new products. And it's really tough to get people excited about those new products. So we did a couple of things. We went out to, we own a series of convenience stores. Many times that the person at the pump doesn't even understand that we're selling food on the inside. So we hired a couple of sparkling personalities to go out to the pumps to sample out new products and old favorites as well.
How did it do for you?
75% of those people never knew that we had anything of such great taste, value, and quality, or that we were even serving food. So the convenience store food industry has really changed over with still being a value, but yet having such great quality because it's cooked on site.
So by getting the food in people's mouths, you were able to transform the perception of that business.
Absolutely.
Well, and you said something important, engaging personalities. Guys, I will hire hospitality over experience every single day. I don't care if you've ever waited. I can teach you how to wait a table. I can teach you how to manage a restaurant. I can't teach you how to be a great, nice person. I just can't. So look for that in your people. I mean, who's just engaging and smiling and energetic? And that, again, I think hiring from an internal perspective, the right cultural fit, teaching them what they need to know. Some of my best servers are those that did not wait tables, before they joined us.
And I really think that you bring home the idea of finding that you can't always be the brand ambassador. There are some people that going out into the community will cause an anxiety attack. I have seen the best GMs in the world who can manage costs, manage staff, put out great food, but if I say to them, hey, will you go to that PTA meeting with me? They break out into sweats. So one of the best things that you can do for your business is finding that internal marketer. It could be somebody who's going to school for marketing. It could just be that incredibly outgoing hostess for them to go out and engage in the community or right in front of your store, handing out samples of your amazing food.
We just put together bags, has a bottle opener, a koozie, a plastic cup, a refrigerator magnet, stuff about our happy hour, and we created relationships with apartment complexes that were within walking distance. So now that's become their new resident gift bag, and they put their stuff in that. So when you check in or you move into your new apartment, you've got a magnet that has Jake's on it. It says close the fridge, go to Jake's. I mean, why limit happy to an hour? Hold me, I'm cold on the koozie. And we are starting to see the neighborhood folks start walking in. It's really starting to increase the transient population coming into Jake's.
I will tell you this, again, since I've been doing this a really, really long time, and it happened again last week. I was sitting there stuffing goodie bags for some event that I was doing. I can't even remember. No matter how far you get in your marketing career, you will always stuff a goodie bag. And there's a reason, because all that stuff becomes like little miniature billboards walking around your community with your logo on it. The ROI on it is fantastic. So don't disregard the value or the impact that having your logo out there makes. Whether that's buying the back court of those Little League signs that cost $250 a year that may not have an immediate ROI, but that's your logo out in the community and keeping you top of mind, as well as creating this kind of tie-in with the local community.
And on that note, spend some money on your logo. If you are not a graphic designer and you're not a marketer, don't go into Microsoft Word and just pick a font and make a logo out of it, because no one wants to wear that. No one wants to put it on their koozie. You can't market that. So the things, I think in general, anything that you're not an expert at, pay the person who is, or you're costing yourself hours and hours and hours of time that you could have been using to do what you do best, which is run a restaurant.
Yeah, that's actually an amazing point. If there is something
I learned it the hard way.
if there is something that you're not fabulous at, like if you're not a great writer, everybody knows if their grammar stinks, right? Maybe you shouldn't be posting on social, just saying.
And I saw this, I'm sorry.
Hiring somebody else to do that for you, or somebody internally who has a passion for it. Something else that I find, especially in small brands, having somebody who is having an actual PR professional, even if it's just to bounce off ideas off of a couple hours a month, is $1 really well spent. The power of PR and getting earned media, as opposed to paying for exposure, has an incredible value. So really, especially in the beginning, making sure that you're at least talking to a PR professional, because when you take social and you take PR and you put them together, you get buzz. And that is what we are all looking for. We are all looking for people to be talking about our restaurants in a positive way, not like Hunter said, in a negative way because you weren't prepared for something. So making sure that somebody's managing your out-of-store presence, whether it be social, PR, all of those things, I think is $1 very well spent.
Is anyone in the room with Yelp? Okay, good. Are you with Yelp? No, I mean, like, you don't work for them, right? Because I'm about to say some not so nice things. Okay, so they're the devil.
Kendra,
They're always listening. I know they are. That's the sad thing. But guess what, guys? We got to dance with the devil. And that's a sad truth. So I don't think it's fair the way they hide some reviews, they let you see some reviews. I mean, I just opened my 9th restaurant, and 85 5-star reviews are being hidden from the guest because they feel like they might not be authentic. Well, let me tell you what I do in every single one of my tables is every table gets a card that says, thank you for joining us today. If we knocked it out of the park today, please go out and share it with the social mediums. If we didn't knock it out of the park, please call Kendra Shier, the VP of Operations. Here's her cell phone and her email.
So see what she did? She put the kibosh on that negative online sentiment before it could ever even get there. She's handled the problem. And that's what everybody wants, right? They want to be heard. So now instead of being heard all over Yelp, they're talking to the big kahuna.
And Yelp is pissed. I'm sorry, but they are mad at me. They said, you're not letting this happen organically. I said, oh, really? Really? So, you know, there have been lawsuits after lawsuits. I don't know why these guys are still operating the way they do. I told them to their face, why don't you just behave like Google? Let everybody see every review, good, bad, or indifferent, and let it work itself out in the wash. Why do you have this algorithm that you can't really define or explain to me, but yet it's hindering, it's harming my business? So we also, our servers, if they are mentioned in a 4 or 5-star review by name, they get their name in a hat for $100 a month. So I give out $100 a month for any server that we pull out of the hat that got a 4 or a 5-star review. One guy in my Frisco location is single-handedly responsible for taking that restaurant from a 3 to a 3.5 star. I kid you not, he had 28 5-star reviews in about 2 weeks' time. And they're all genuine. And if you asked every one of the guests, he executed perfectly. So that's a great idea. The Yelp card, you can steal that one. We'll have it on there. It's also when they hear, I answer every 1 and 2-star review that comes into the company personally. So when they see VP of Operations, from a cultural standpoint, that sends a really powerful message that you do care what's happening in your restaurant, and that you know, we all make mistakes, guys. I have had some really bad days in restaurants, but it's how we handle that mistake that's going to define who we are culturally and how we, as an organization, come across. Because the recovered guest is 100 times more loyal than just your average guest walking through the door. You've got a relationship. There's a commitment there. So anything you can do, don't let those things go and just live out there on their own. Own them. If you don't know how to own your Yelp pages, you can reach out to us. We're happy to walk you through that process,
Yeah,
but you should own that.
Yeah, another thing about Yelp. Oh, sir.
Yeah, I've got it.
So one more thing about Yelp. Everybody who's in a major market, and I don't know how small it gets. I've done this in Lexington, South Carolina, which is actually a suburb of Columbia, South Carolina. Who knew? But Yelp has community managers. The community manager here in San Antonio is amazing, one of the most wonderful people that I've met. And you can get in touch with the community manager. Now, they work completely separately from people who are trying to sell you stuff on Yelp. So you can feel kind of comfortable with that. It's 2 different verticals. And the community managers are responsible for managing the Yelp elite. So those are the folks who go out to dinner and talk about it, and they talk about their manicure lady, and they talk about, you know, whatever they did for lunch that day. They are on Yelp all the time. So the Yelp community manager is responsible for managing events for those folks and keeping them happy. That is their sole responsibility. These community managers host events at restaurants. So if you have a restaurant that needs to gain some awareness, very quickly and only for the cost of food, you can entertain these folks in a very kind of controlled manner. They review the event. They do not review the restaurant. But what you're doing is you're kind of wining and dining them, impressing them with their food, giving them a bounce back coupon to come in and then review them, but after you've kind of controlled that messaging. We have Firenza Pizza. I've now done this event 7 times around the country. We have close to 200 of these party reviews that all say exactly what I want them to say about Firenza Pizza. By the way, there's a Firenza Pizza here in Alamo Ranch, if anybody's interested. Great dough, great sauce, great cheese. Every single one of those reviews has that in it because I have spoon-fed it to them. However, It doesn't have to be the CMO doing it of a company. It can be you in your local restaurant talking about the passion that you have for it to these very influential people in your community.
Smaller organizations have so much more appeal to the press, too, locally owned and operated. So we got about 10 minutes left, so I want to make sure we get as much content from the field.
Well, basically, two things that we do. We're really known for our sweet tea. So any church, any school, we donate sweet tea. The only requirement is that they've got to have all of our cups, because they can either sell it, or as long as the whole place is filled with Chicken Express cups, it's the cheapest thing that we could fork out as far as money.
Do you have any sweet tea with you right now? Yes. Because there is no such thing as sweet tea in Washington,
The other thing that
D.C.
we do just as a community, all of our first responders, if they come in uniform, whether it be a police officer, a fire department, they get we feed them free. They eat for free.
And don't make any mistake, they'll be if the alarm's going off, they're going to be the first ones there. They appreciate that.
Even if it's a false alarm, they know they're getting fed.
All right, what else do we have? Ideas? Yes, sir.
We're doing, we're launching, the best marketing place that you have is your own location. We have TV screens around the restaurant, 8 of them, and we're flipping them to start showing our own videos and commercials, but almost engaging the community to also give them advertising on our screens at no cost. The second thing that we're doing is in the World Cup, Soccer Cup, a couple of weeks ago, being Colombian, we have the house packed. So I do have business owners who come to our restaurant. So I approached them and I said, can I get a certificate from your business so we can pass it on to the people that are going to be watching the game?
Awesome.
We have European wax, now mani and pedi, oil changes, and we just give them away to people. Botox, I mean, all kind of stuff. Because those are clients that come and they like our food, but they are the owners. So if you engage them to get back to those who come to your business, it creates a synergy. The last part that we're working on is in beacons. I don't know if you know what a beacon is. Yeah. But we tried and tested, and I have a few franchises just down the street that we have tried that if you come close to one of those locations, the system will talk to their phone and say, hey, we noticed you're down there at such and such and such. Would you like to try something on this end for free? And it works.
It's awesome. It's creepy as heck, because I walk into Walmart and all of a sudden there's something coming up on my phone. I'm like, oh my God. Yes. But it's working.
And in the restaurant, the beacons can go outside and inside. Once you step in, then it takes a different mode.
Right.
So those are the 3 things that we're launching on our business, using our own business to create a marketing.
That's fantastic.
Instead of going out with some strategies that don't work.
Anybody use Waze? Anybody advertising on Waze? Anybody use Waze at all for personal, not getting lost pleasure? Okay. As soon as you leave here, I want you all to go on to Waze, set up a business account, and claim your businesses. What it does is it creates little digital billboards within the Waze app, which is a navigation system, which is a crowdsourced navigation system. It's free to claim your locations on Waze, and then it's super, super cheap to advertise. I think it's a minimum of like $50 a month for your whole brand. So if you have 10 locations, I keep it as an always-on thing for Firenza. It's super cheap, and that platform is growing very quickly. So there'll be new types of ads that you can opt into depending on what your budget is. So Waze, I love it because you can actually see if somebody clicked on it and came to your restaurant, and it gives you a little space for an offer. I think it's like maybe 100 characters for an offer. So that's a really cheap, inexpensive thing you can do.
Right there.
I mean, I have to ask if you have any perception of online deal platforms. Groupon being the most familiar, Travelzoo's a little bit more niche, different animal. But because I'm selfishly asking a question, I also want to relay some experience. I'm from Los Angeles, and there's new places opening up every week, like 20 places opening every week. So as you get somebody in your restaurant, it's important to get them thinking about the next time they're going to your restaurant, because they're going to get distracted by the 20 new places opening. So one of the best campaigns that I saw was that after you got your check, They just gave you an envelope, and in that envelope, you had no idea what was inside. It could be a 5% discount.
Sealed envelope. It's like one of the oldest marketing tactics in the book. And
Don't
I
open
don't
it up.
care.
Come back
I
and
don't
see.
care like if Google comes up with mind control. This sealed envelope thing is the best. You guys can do this as soon as you get back to your restaurants. It's super easy. You put an offer in the envelope, right? And it has either you handwrite it or you put a little label on it that says, "This is only valid on your next visit. Do not open. Must be opened by your cashier server," whatever your business model is. The redemption rates are ridiculous, and it will increase your frequency for sure.
Yes.
But do please tell me what you think about Groupon and if you are aware at all about Travelzoo.
I personally, we don't discount. Like I said, I'm giving it away. I'm not discounting because I'm better than that, and you are too. So if I do something on an online platform, it's a freebie. So I think we've done a BOGO once, but I just feel like it's a bait and switch with your customer. Free with a purchase, it's not free. So I really challenge you to use those vehicles to be better than the others. The customer smells desperation, and if you've gotten to the point in your business where you feel like discounting is the only way you're going to grow that business, there's blood in the water and the sharks are circling. So that is absolutely without a doubt, and I know a lot of people, especially partners that want us to discount and do the the clipper, whatever, all that stuff. You're only as good as your fellow advertiser in there too. So if you're fine being next to
the HVAC guy,
yeah, then that's fine. But again, I think the pride we have in our brands, there's better ways to reach that. I'm using Facebook advertising right now with a company, Misfit Media out of LA, who they're fantastic, cutting edge. They basically are giving 500 free hand-cut fries of mine away. And we're adding them into this great database that we can then push free offers to just to bring them. I know you're not going to just get a fry. So I'd look at ways to, acquire customers that way. And I think I'm spending $100 a month to do that. And I could go up as far as 500.
A gentleman over there.
You touched on this earlier, but with operations, you've got to get the operations in order before you do all the marketing.
Yes.
My friend wanted me to come help him with his restaurant. And I said, I'm going to start pushing out $300 a month on Facebook, and you're going to see some amazing results, I promise. But we got to fix your menu first, and you got to make sure that food is consistent first.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I'm not doing it.
It's a waste of money.
Yeah, you're inviting bad reviews. And then also, a lot of y'all may have seen this video online. I know it's kind of gone viral on Facebook a little bit. The John Taffer guy was talking about.
We know John well.
The idea where you have
Don't
your
sit in the front
hostess give the person a different colored napkin if they're a first-time visitor, and then your guy comes along and gives them the manager visits and gives them a coupon to return for a free item or a free appetizer later. Because that way, if you get them in the door for 3 visits, then they're surely likely to come back again. You've got them in a habit of coming to your place.
Yep, John DeJulius, write that name down. John, D-I-J-U-L-I-U-S. He has some fantastic books out there, the best on customer service that I've ever seen. I'm actually in one of them with the melting pot experience that we did. But he talks exactly like, and John's a big fan of, or John Taffer's a big fan of John DeJulius and got this because John would put different colored cloaks. He owns beauty salons. So if you had a red one, you were a regular. If you had a black one, you were a new one. So there's things and ways for you to really do things behind the scenes that enhance that experience as well.
And I'd like to add real quick to what you were saying and what John Taffer was saying. One of the concepts that I work for, they have a spiel at the beginning of each meal. So the server comes up and they ask you, the first thing they say to you is, "Hey, how's it going? My name is so-and-so. Have you ever dined with us before?" And that's a real, that's it. Like, that's the personal connection, is to say, do you know what we're doing? Do you know why you're here? Do you know anything about the place? They immediately alert the manager, and we take extra good care of that table throughout the meal. And we also have the manager do a table visit at the end of the meal and drop off a complimentary dessert. And it's not necessarily inviting them back with the promise of something free the next time, but it really forms that personal connection, and it gives your server a chance to answer questions about what makes your concept unique. The place that I'm speaking of is a Detroit-style pizza place. How many people know what Detroit-style pizza is? That's why we ask the question, so that the server can really give a good explanation of what we're doing, why we're doing it, and it helps a lot. Is anybody else?
Well, yes. And we got time for a couple more, and then any questions, and we'll wrap it up.
I have one that doesn't cost any money. I took over a store years ago in the Austin market, and they were about to close the store in about 6 months to a year. And I ran a little contest with our staff that the person who could remember the most customers' names and greet them when they walked in the door would win a little prize. And so that's all that cost. The goal was to get one more, so one more visit, whether it was one more time a week, one more time a month, one more time a day. Sure enough, that store is still operating. It never closed. All those managers have been promoted. There's nothing like walking in the door and being told, "Hey, John, how you doing?"
It's the most beautiful thing to our ears is our own name. So you're exactly right.
That's
Seriously,
fantastic.
and people, you know what? People like to be recognized. They're going to bring their friends in because they know the minute they walk in the door, they're going to recognize me, and I'm going to be important. It's going to be this really cool reaction. So any questions for us real quick? Like I said, make sure we get your email address because that's how we're going to generate this probably 120 marketing ideas. We had some pre-prepared. There's just not enough time in 30 minutes, and I went over 15 because I think it's important enough. So if you have not signed this, it'll be right here on the chair. Any questions, though, before we wrap it up? We could stay here all day and shoot all these marketing ideas, but I can promise you what you're going to have in your hands in a few days is going to be an amazing tool for you to go through and utilize what makes sense for your brand. As well, I think all of our contact information is in the book, and we're available and accessible for any questions that you might have after the session, or certainly come see us up here anytime today. Thank you guys very much.